Welcome back! It is me, Bio, and today we are looking at Saint Seiya games. That's right, hopefully we're going to be looking at all the Saint Seiya games that have been released thus far. Please keep in mind, I haven't played every single Saint Seiya game. Well, in all fairness, I've played every single Saint Seiya game, probably except for the typing game on the PC and the two Android games. But we're going to talk about them anyway, just have a brief look at them and see what they're like. So, we're going to be looking at probably every single Saint Seiya game, in all fairness. Every single one. Every single Saint Seiya game they've released thus far. And then we'll maybe have a little discussion at the end about where the video game series is probably going to go from here. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. The first Saint Seiya game ever released was Saint Seiya Ugon Densetsu for the Famicom. Now, this game is a little bit strange in my opinion, because it kind of looks like from the get-go like it's going to be a 2D beat 'em up, but then it turns into this like action RPG or turn-based RPG kind of mechanics. Now, I didn't get past the training. I only went up against Marin. Again, the game's in Japanese. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But Marin beats the absolute shit out of you. She really does. So, from the looks of it, it's like you play a Seiya. You're the typical Saint Seiya story. I think this probably goes up to the Sanctuary arc, maybe. I don't know where the Saint Seiya anime was when this game came out. On Game FAQs it says that you get to challenge the Galaxian Wars, the Silver Knights, and the Gold Knights. So there's the Silver Saints and the Gold Saints. I also like to make a point that this game did actually get released outside of Japan, in France, strangely enough. Only France, though. Nowhere else. But yeah, it seems like seems like an RPG. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I can't seem to get past this point. But I guess it could be okay. But again, I can't say really anything more on it. The next game on the list is Saint Seiya Ugon Densetsu Kanketsuhen, which is a direct sequel to the original Saint Seiya game, Ugon Densetsu. Once again released for the Famicom. This was released a year later after the first one, and this solidifies my opinion on it's a 2D fighter. Yeah, it's a 2D beat 'em up, as it starts off a bunch of enemy saints you got to fight against, probably black saints, because that's what the evil ones are or something. That's what it started off with. It's really interesting to say you have like the original like bronze saints, Seiya, Hyuga, and Shiryu, Shun, and even Ikki. Actually, but at the beginning, Ikki was working together with which were actually called Black Saints, which were wearing black variations of cloths that the Bronze Saints were wearing. When you think about that, it's just strange, isn't it? Because then everything you never see them again, never see them again, and then it's suddenly just silver and gold saints. It's really it's still saints as well. It's every type of saint. Anyway, so this game kind of looks like it is a 2D beat 'em up, and then it once again goes into, once you reach the first like little boss or whoever, into once again an RPG, like a turn-based RPG. And when you go up against Aldebaran, I can't remember if that's how you pronounce his name properly, the one with the Taurus gold cloth. You go up against him, and he absolutely wipes the floor with you, which is great, right? So, I don't know. I didn't get past this point because, again, he just wipes the floor with you. Again, it's not in English. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to do something specific. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, but that's Kanketsuhen. The next game on the list comes out 4 years after the Famicom Ugon Densetsu Kanketsuhen game, and that's Saint Paradise for the original Game Boy. In this game, the saints are, the Bronze Saints. They are chibi-looking characters. They look a bit chibi-ish, as based off the cover art. And it's basically an RPG. It's basically an RPG. You start on this looks like a world map, whatever this is, like map you got to walk across. I didn't know where I was supposed to go, but I was walking across, and then you had random encounters with enemy Saints or the Martians or whatever you want to call them, depending. I don't know. You know, I've only watched the first 39 episodes of the original Saint Seiya. I watched a little bit of Omega. So, but yeah, that's pretty much this game. It looks like a RPG. Well, it is an RPG, and it's okay, I guess. The music is horrific. That's one of the things I want to point out. The music is horrible. It is like nails on a chalkboard kind of thing. It's really horrible. I guess it could be the emulator, but it's just horrible. Imagine hearing that on the original Game Boy. I can imagine it would be quite horrific. Anyway. Our next Saint Seiya game is Ugon Densetsu Hen Perfect Edition. Now, this game was originally released and is exclusively released on the Wonder Swan Color, or the Swan Crystal in this case. Now, this game is a remake of the original 2 Famicom games, from my understanding, but obviously the gameplay is significantly more different. Now, the sprites look quite nice, you know, again, once it starts you from the beginning of the series, etc., etc. It looks alright, doesn't it? It looks alright as a game. It plays fine. But once again, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know what it is. It's just more of the fact that maybe it's more of that, because I don't understand Japanese. I don't understand what's going on. It took a little while for me to figure out who I was supposed to talk to, where I was supposed to go. It's not a detriment to the game. Again, it's not intended for me, obviously. But it's just, I don't think, in terms of sprites, fine, but I don't think this is a massive improvement to the original games. I know you're probably thinking, but skip from Famicom to Wonder Swan Color, that's a big jump, isn't it? It is, but still, it's just, it's what I got from this game is like, that's all I got. Now, the next game might catch you by surprise. I didn't play this game, but it makes me laugh that this even exists. I don't know, what kind of market does this go to? Who enjoys this? Who actually enjoys this? What Japanese person enjoys this? And that is Saint Seiya typing Ryuseiken. Now, this was a common trend back in the day. There was a bunch of animes and other different series that got a typing game on the PC, and you wonder to yourself, why? Why would you? Now, Typing of the Dead is cool because it's an interesting concept to be able to kill zombies while typing, but it's a gimmick. That's all it is. So having one game as a spin-off or something in the West, and it has to work. The franchise it's based off has to be very specific. Has to work for that. Like killing zombies with typing words. That's what the gimmick was. It wasn't the actual typing itself. But a lot of anime games have games like these, and I just don't get it. So you type words as fast as you can. The faster you type them, I guess the higher your Cosmo rises, and then you can attack your enemy and take down your enemy. And that's what Saint Seiya typing Ryuseiken is. I thought I'd talk about it anyway. It's just interesting to think why these games exist, Anyway. Here we go. The first Saint Seiya game that's up my alley. Right up my alley. Saint Seiya The Sanctuary. Released for the PlayStation 2. Oh! Now, this game was only released in Japan and Europe. America never got it. I don't think Saint Seiya really ever took off in America. I know we've had the Netflix series recently to try and reboot it, which, let's be honest, from what I've heard, is absolutely terrible. But it never really took off. But Europe loved it. France loved it. I think it's really popular in Latin America. Really, really popular there in South America. So, but in the UK, not really. It never took off. But obviously, we could play the games because they did have English translations. Because I think that's part of the PEGI rules. The age rating rules. You've got to have a certain amount of languages to be released in Europe, or something along those lines. But the Sanctuary and the Hades, which are the two PlayStation 2 games, do have English translations. Now, this game is a typical 3D fighter, and is the beginning for Dimps. Dimps is the developer here. It's the beginning of what Soldier's Soul would become. You know, this is the beginning. Soldier's Soul is the final result. And it's okay. This game's fine. It plays absolutely fine. It takes a little while to get used to the controls. You know, get an idea of what combo does what and what you can do, and etc. etc. It took me a little while to try and figure it out before I had to look up a move list to see what I was. As soon as I saw, as soon as I saw the move list, I went off on a tangent about how annoying it is to all I want to know is X circle. Here's how to do special. Here's the non-bullshit way how to do a special. Yeah, if you want to do Pegasus Media Fist, yeah, it's R1 and circle. There you go. You see, it's not special and punch. Yeah, it's not P and S as it tends to put on there on the moveset list. I hate shit like that. It really gets to me. So just put X. It's not released on any other platforms besides the PS2. Just put R1 and circle. Is that so difficult? But yeah. But once I knew what I was doing and I got a hand of the controls, it was fine. Was playing the game absolutely fine. Not too bad, pretty enjoyable if I'll be completely honest. From what I can tell, it looks like this game specifically covers the Sanctuary arc. Thus why the second game after this is the Hades. I guess that covers the Hades arc, Looks like they completely miss out Asgard and Poseidon here, but it is what it is. So, the next game we're talking about is Saint Seiya Hades. Or the Hades, I guess. There isn't really actually much to say about it, because the game, in terms of how it plays, is identical to the Sanctuary, the previous PlayStation 2 game. The only difference is that in Hades, it covers the Hades arc, and it's like taken some characters away, but added some characters. So you've got some characters from the Hades arc, but it's taken away a few characters. Like, I think it took away, if I remember correctly, the Still Saints, they're not there now, etc. etc. But in terms of fighting, it's fine. The stages, they're also the same with the stages. They took away, in the previous game you could play on any of the palaces, but now there's only a select few palaces you can play as, but you have a bunch of other stages related to the Hades arc that you can play on. But yeah, that's the only real difference here. Besides that, it's pretty much identical to the previous game. So, just a few changes here and there, that's all in terms of the character roster and stages you can play on. Next, we're going to be talking about Saint Seiya Sanctuary Battle. Now, I didn't record any footage for this because I can't be bothered to dig out my PlayStation 3 out of my wardrobe. It's pretty chalked up in there. So, Sanctuary Battle, it's basically plays like a Dynasty Warriors game. That's really all I have to say about it. It plays like a Dynasty Warriors game. I'm not even joking. It's a 3D beat 'em up. It literally, I'm not even joking, plays like a Dynasty Warriors game. Probably actually plays slightly better than a Dynasty Warriors game, if I be completely honest. The flashy takedowns that you can do, or the big bang attacks, are pretty cool. Got quite a good roster of playable characters. And if I be completely honest, this was my first Saint Seiya game I had ever played. My first one. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this game when I originally played it on the PlayStation 3. All I have to say is positive things about this game. Really did enjoy it. Follows the Sanctuary arc specifically. It doesn't really follow any of the other arcs. It's specifically the Sanctuary arc. And it does a really good job of it. The graphics are really nice. Dimps obviously worked on this one. They wanted a different direction. Because again, it's more of a 3D beat 'em up than it is a 3D fighter. And I gotta give it credit to them. They did a good job. They did a really good job of it. I really did enjoy it. Really did enjoy playing it. And yeah, so let's move on to the next game. Next, we have the only Saint Seiya Omega video game, and that is Ultimate Cosmo for the PlayStation Portable. Oh, this game is eh. I'm going to be completely honest. It's very, very bare bones 3D fighting game. There isn't really anything special about it. You can still perform like special BBA attacks, but they're not in the same kind of league as even the PlayStation 2 games in terms of spectacle. They're very basic. It kind of reminds me if you had a really bad Ultimate Ninja Heroes game. Like I say, you got the original Ultimate Ninja Heroes, and it's a Naruto game, by the way, if you don't know. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Heroes, and And he decided, I'm not going to make it as good as that. I'm just going to like skimp out on making it good. This is what this game would be like. This is what it'd be. This would be Ultimate Cosmo. Really bare bones 3D fighting game. And if I be completely honest, Omega's not very good Saint Seiya series, if I be completely honest either. So yeah. Now, the next game I haven't actually really got much to say about, mainly because it's Saint Seiya Online. It's an MMORPG, which I believe is long since dead, but I think there's some private servers and there is a select community that's keeping it alive. And for what I've seen from the gameplay of it, it looks like a typical MMO. It looks like Dragon Ball Online, for example. Just to give an example, you know, create your own saint character, you create a character, and then you go and battle across, you know, the cosmos, battling other saints, the Black Saints, the Martians, you know, the Gold Saints, Silver Saints, whatever. Yeah, so that's what it looks like from what I can tell. Yeah. You know, those types of games, fair enough if you like them, but I tend to find they're very bare bones. They do what's like the bare minimum they have to do for an MMO, and they rely on the brand name, or in this case, it's Saint Seiya or Dragon Ball. You know, they rely on the brand name to bring in the fans to want to play the game. But in terms of an MMO, they make it very bare bones, very basic. That's what I tend to find with a lot of these types of games. But yeah, so that's Saint Seiya Online. I ain't really got much to say. You know, it's an MMO. You know, very, very typical MMO. Saint Seiya Brave Soldiers is the next game we're going to be talking about. But I will be rather brief with it. Once again, PS3 exclusive, can't record any footage for it, so it is what it is. Now, this game is the first Saint Seiya game to take to I guess be a spiritual successor, or it'll take after the Sanctuary and Hades games. Brave Soldiers is exactly like those games. It plays exactly like those games. It's a 3D fighter, and it's a really good one. I remember playing this, and I had really fond memories of playing this. And this was the first Saint Seiya game to cover pretty much most of the arcs, or all of the arcs. It had the God Cloths. It had the Poseidon arc, it had the Sanctuary and Hades arc, obviously. I think maybe even has the Asgard arc. I'm not 100% on that, I can't remember. But yeah, it had all the necessary arcs. The story was told fine. You know, I think it was just typical, like, here's some stills from the anime with some voiceover for the texture reading, etc., etc. But I enjoyed it. I thought this was a really good game when it came out. I really enjoyed it. It was also America's first taste of Saint Seiya, because they never got Sanctuary Battle, but they did get Brave Soldiers. Even if it was digital, they did get the game, so they were able to play the game. But yeah, it's the game itself plays exactly like the PS2 games, but much more refined. They updated it to make it, so it plays much better. And yeah, overall, really good Saint Seiya game. Oh, here we go. Here we go. The best Saint Seiya game in existence, at least in my opinion. Saint Seiya Soldier's Soul. The best 3D fighter that Saint Seiya has to offer. This is the game. This is the game. It's on, it wasn't just PlayStation 3, as Brave Soldiers was. It was, you had a PS4, PS3, and PC. It even came out on PC. And obviously that's the platform I played it on. I actually was able to record some footage of it because of that. Yeah, oh my god, really, really good game. Now, it covers Sanctuary Arc, check. Asgard Arc, check. Hades Arc, check. Poseidon Arc, check. Elysium Arc, or the God Arc, whatever. Check, Aroni. If you want it, it's there. It's there. It has everything. Oh, it has an extremely large roster of playable characters. Ridiculously large. It's just overshadows everything else. It's by far my favorite Saint Seiya game. The Big Bang attacks are real flashy, but fairness, if I be completely honest, this Soldier Soul is very similar to Brave Soldiers. It's very, very similar, but again, I think they did a little bit more refinements on the fighting system to the point where now it's just perfect. It's great. and added a bunch of more stuff. I finished the story on this game, but I never did the war. There's like this war mode or something that was part of it. I can vaguely remember. I glossed over as I was, I think, replaying it for the footage. And yeah, really, I'm not very good at expressing my opinion of why I like a game, but it has everything I wanted out of a Saint Seiya game. I can't say much more than that. I can't say much more than it has everything I want out of a Saint Seiya game. Yeah, if I would say, well, what improvements would you give it? Create a character. That's just, I always go with that now. I'm glad these anime games are giving us the option to create a character now. It's much better for me. I love creating my own character in that select world. It's great. But that's the only thing I'd add. I wouldn't add anything else. It's fine as it is. Anyway, we got 2 more games to look at, and yeah, they're not nothing special. Let's put it that way. You ever be browsing YouTube and get assaulted by a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship on one of your subscriptions videos? I know, I've had it, and you can have a good laugh at some of the ones that just do it as like a meme, but yeah, you've seen. So most people tend to know what that game is. Now, the game we're looking at now is Saint Seiya. Cosmo Fantasy. Seiya is necessary. Should have a Seiya in between. Cosmo Fantasy for the iOS, Android. Oh my word! It looks like Raid Shadow Legends. In terms of how it plays. I don't know if there's a genre game. I don't know, but it looks really basic. It looks really, really just terrible. If I be completely honest. I hate mobile games, I hate Android games, iOS games, unless they're just there to waste time. Most of these tend to waste time, I guess, but I just don't get it. I don't get these types of games personally, and it just looks terrible to me. Just looks absolutely terrible. And finally, we have Saint Seiya Shining Soldiers. Yay, another iOS Android game. I'm not going to say much about this, besides, I don't know, it kind of looks like Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission, the Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission, or the Dragon Ball Heroes kind of card game thing where you can collect cards. I guess not physically, but digitally in this game. You collect cards, you build up a team of 3, and then you use them to fight against an opponent online. And you build up, I guess you must get other cards that can boost your characters up and whatever, and etc, etc. I do love the trailers, because the game hasn't actually come out in the West yet. It has come out in Japan. You can find some actual proper gameplay of this game on YouTube if you want to have a look. But look at this trailer. It doesn't show any gameplay of the game, which makes me laugh. It's just like, no, we're not going to show you the gameplay because we know you're not going to like it. Kind of attitude. I'm not going to say much else about this. There's nothing to say. I don't buy into these Android phone games. It's just trash. That's it, gentlemen. That's it, my boys. That's it. That's Saint Seiya. I've looked at every single Saint Seiya game under the sun. Yeah. So you had some okay ones, I guess, but most of them were not great. The best one by far is Soldier's Soul, obviously. But Sanctuary Battle was really good. Brave Soldier's really good. Even the Sanctuary and the Hades were okay. But I just want to have a little tiny discussion at the end. It's 2020 now. This video came out in 2020, and I'm like, when's the next Saint Seiya game coming? Soldier's Soul came out in 2015, so when's our next one? This is the year. Come on, Bandai Namco. This is the year. 2020 is the year. Come on. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest with you. With the new Netflix series, with Netflix dubbing the original series, and with probably Netflix planning to bring pretty much the entirety of every Saint Seiya anime to Netflix at some point, 2020 is a good year for a Saint Seiya game. It's a good year for it. But maybe get Dimps to do something slightly different. Maybe Dimps could do what they did with Xenoverse to Saint Seiya, where you have two cosmoses crossing over, and that allows you to create your own character and you got to go up against you've got to fight all of them. You look at it from both sides. You can either go side with the Martians, side with the Pope, or the evil Pope, and go up against the Bronze Saints and other good saints and whatnot, or you can team up and with the Bronze Saints and go and try and fight the Gold Saints and that. I think it'd be pretty good if they did it like that. Imagine like that, like Xenoverse. You had a big old map and you can fight, and I don't know. But I think that'd be pretty good if Dibs came back, do another Saint Seiya game, do it like Xenoverse, have your own created character. I think people would be pretty happy with that. People would like that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed me looking at Saint Seiya games. At least you got something. I hope you got something out of this. And I've been Bio. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.